Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Lady Arcader's International Day of the Girl special showcase. We are benefiting CARE here. For those of you who don't know, CARE is an amazing charity. They were founded in 1945 with the creation of CARE Package. CARE is a leading humanitarian organization fighting global poverty. CARE places special focus on working alongside women and girls, and they equip them with the proper resources. Uh, yeah, it's just a cozy, chill day, benefiting a great charity. I am here with my knitting. Underneath my favorite blanket, I have a warm cup of tea. I hope everybody else is as comfortable as I am. But we have a great showcase coming up. We have BZArcher with Okapi on comms for Hardspace Shipbreaker. Whenever you are ready, BZ, please take it away.
Awesome. Hey there. So, I'm BZArcher, and this is Hardspace Shipbreaker. It's a game on Steam, a few other places. If you haven't tried it, the basic idea is you're in space. They need to make money. You are breaking up ships and either salvaging or selling stuff back to the company to get out of debt and or for profit. Mostly debt, but it's like that. But we're going to do just a little bit of what we call a free play here to show you how it all works. Okapi, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I reckon so. So I played this game when it first hit early access. I don't think free play was even in the game at that point. It's changed quite a bit since I played it. I fired it up last night to see what's changed, and there's like an actual campaign now,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a bunch of new ships. It's a really like this is one of those games that like I don't care what it claims to be. It's whatever skin it's wearing. It's actually a puzzle game underneath because we're going to be having to figure out how to take these ships apart without blowing up the ship and or ourselves.
That would be the main goal. Yeah.
Yeah, not going to be a huge issue for Archer because we already know the rough layouts of the ships that we're going for and what all the danger stuff is. But like playing this game casually, having to figure out how everything do be working, it's a really interesting little game. Definitely recommend picking it up. But I believe BZArcher told me that we are looking at something a little more laid back. I think you were telling me last night that we're looking at cutting up a mackerel today.
Yeah. Thinking just keep it relatively simple. Just let everybody see how it is. And, the idea today is we're being nice and cozy, just a little bit laid back. Just kind of unwind with you, your laser cutter, and a grappling gravity manipulation device that'll basically take a beer can and send it at your own face at 20,000 newtons. So, as it does. And
Yeah.
decided I think we're going to cut up one of these exo labs because that'll give us a good look at a bunch of different stuff in the game. So,
Yeah, I was thinking either the Exo Lab or the Heavy Cargo. Those both have a lot of juice on them.
yep. So we're going ahead and loading it up here. Link Salvage, them's the company you're working for. They ain't nice. They really ain't. That's okay though. You can get a little of your own back here and there, and well, you play the campaign, you get some real satisfying moments, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the basic storyline of the campaign, from what I've gathered so far, is like if you're kind of familiar with like the early labor rights and like some of the lore and song that came from like some of the coal miner strikes and things like that. It's very much a I sold my soul to the company store kind of situation here. Like they have paid several $billion to train and onboard us on how to take apart these ships, and you got to work that off. But there's no campaign here. We're going into free play. We don't have to worry about our oxygen level. We don't have to worry about the timer that would normally be on our campaign levels. So it's just going to be chill vibes, figuring out how we're going to take apart this Exo Lab.
Yep. So I'm just doing a quick look around. I've got pretty much everything I need here right now. got demo charges. I got some. Well, technically in free play, they basically give you infinite tethers. We'll show you how those work in a second. But yeah, I'm just gonna back her up here. You can see the mackerels are basically your standard kind of light cargo tug. Right now, I'm currently got my gravity grapple out. Can use this just to reel myself in if I don't want to use my thrusters, and then nice little burst here to cut that momentum. And basically, there's three options. Three options for the stuff, kind of. We're either going to be dumping stuff in this salvage barge, we're going to be throwing stuff in the furnace, or we're going to put it in the processor. Or, well, now and then some stuff just kind of finds its way into a pocket here and there. Nothing they're going to miss. Might be useful for repairing your own stuff. Besides, they're all selling it for scrap anyway, so what do we need it for? Right now I'm starting just taking this utility arm off to kind of give you an idea how the grapple work. So you can see I can move this out here. And I mentioned the tethers. So the way that works is I just take a tether line and put it into the barge from the part, and you see it just kind of cleans itself up.
Salvage deposit registered.
Just kind of want to be careful because on the one hand, the more you hit it with the grapple, the more it'll put basically force behind it. And if you're not careful, that force tends to come back at you. Something's stuck and then you twist it free. Doesn't end so good. And right here you can see we're going to need to cut a few things loose. There's these cut points here. For these cut points, level 2, level 1, we can just use our laser cutter. Works about like this. When you start hearing the sizzle, you want to stop or else you're going to cut through that part. They get mad about that. Especially if some of these ones have to nice little price tag on them.
Yeah, and there's a surprising amount of stuff that has a decent price tag on it, too.
Mm-hmm. These are a little more complicated. So these higher level cut points, the best way to get through these is to use what's called demo charge. So there's a couple things about that. First, as you can kind of see, I can basically make this thing cut vertical or horizontal. In this case, we really want this horizontal here, and we want to make sure we're not going to affect the part. Matter of fact, I'm just going to set both of these up and do a little trick. Just going to disarm that. Oh, shoot! Well, so, that could have gone better.
Yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes.
I think we most made it. Alright, anyway. Let's just get in a little closer before we do that. Okay, so, like I said, you get your charges set up, you get the field set up to make sure it ain't going to cut anything you want to keep. And then, boom. Nice and simple. Just
yeah, I don't think the demo charges were in the game the last time I played it, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, they're pretty fun, and you can even kind of toss them into place once you get a little practice. Me personally, I don't really think tossing high explosives at things is a good idea, but you do you, as long as it gets where it needs to go.
Yeah, like once you have a good feeling of the movement in this game, because you do have 6 degrees of freedom, it's very satisfying to be rolling and yawing, and you can really pull off some really cool acrobatics. It's really satisfying to move around once you have your fully upgraded thrusters and all that jazz. But what are you thinking now? We want to go for the engine assembly?
Well, I'm thinking about that, I also think we probably ought to check and see where the access point. Yeah, here we go. There's the
Yeah.
airlock.
Yeah, we should probably try to open the airlock first, because on most ships, not all, but most ships, if you're not depressurized and you pop that engine hatch, you are going to blow the atmosphere, and that causes a lot of problems and creates a lot of debris.
You can have a very
Which
bad day.
is, yeah, like it's not going to cause us any like serious issues in free play, but in campaign, it can kill you, which is not ideal.
You'll notice we have a nice little bit of bonus material here. And let me demonstrate one of the other things you can do with the grapple with this. So you see how I'm lining this up on the furnace where it needs to go. Boom! You just hit that push button and well, you can charge that up real nice. Get some good velocity on it. You can pull bank shots if you know what you're doing. But again, be real careful on that, because only thing more embarrassing than being hit with a flying beer bottle at about 700, 800 kph is the looks you get and the jokes you get from everybody when you cracked your helmet wide open because of it.
Airlock pressurized.
Now, the Everwork program that Lynx has does mean if there's a little bit of on-the-job incident, we can come back. We're okay. As long as our clone is basically data saved, we're good.
The company in this game is reminding me a lot of the Subnautica company.
You know, I think they might have gotten the same manual and like did some classes on how to start a business. Now, this little bit here, free play don't matter, but this actually is a component we could take. It's just floating here. Very useful. You do also sometimes find somebody's left a bag of chips for you. There are the crew beds here and the mattresses, and we basically get to do what we need with the whole buffalo here. Pretty much everything on the ship, one way or another, can be cut, chopped, stripped, launched, sold, or well, basically deleted. And you usually get a decent charge out of that. So what I'm doing right now is, this is going to sound a little funny, but I am pressurizing the ship so I can depressurize the ship.
Air pressure level decreasing.
And then I'm going to pull that other door off and open the airlock, and that should mean that we have everything cleared out throughout the ship. And then, yes, here we go. Alright, so this will be safe to work with. Don't mind that little wavering. We're a little close to the reactor there. And that just kind of interference happens. It's fine, probably. So.
Yeah, it's pretty normal for the a lot of the bigger ships have multiple airlocks and multiple zones, and it's pretty normal for them to be like mixed as to what's pressurized and what's depressurized when you first get into the ship. So yeah,
Smaller
you definitely want to make
ships
sure that they're all equalized, or
Yeah.
you can blow stuff up.
Smaller ships like the Mackerel and the Atlas, it ain't so bad. You get some of the bigger ones, especially like the tankers or the heavy cargoes that have a bunch of different stuff loaded in them using pylons or whatnot. And you can just be like, okay, I got all this done, everything's cleared out. Then you go check a hull compartment for some piping, or maybe you need to find where the atmosphere processor's at, and you try to cut that open because you know that it's been disconnected, right? Oh no, you don't, because you just got launched basically right back out of that ship the hard way.
I thought this was a comfy game marathon.
It is comfy. You just, mind what you're doing.
Okay.
Now you can see I am cutting up some cut points here relative to the ship and the floor. I'm also hitting the thruster ejection system. That'll basically detach the main thrust engine so that we can pull it out through the back. But, what we were saying about it's 6 degrees of freedom and all. Well, I like old books, right? And there's this one old book where the character says, basically they're in space, and he's like, well, the enemy door is down. Well, in this case, the salvage barge is down, and I'm getting the floor out of the way so we can just start pulling stuff out of here and just put it where we need it. Plus, we can take that floor and throw it in the processor. Well, I'll show you how that works. Alright, and if you need to move the floor down a little bit, it's zero gravity now, so basically just all you got to do is hop on it.
Yeah, it's not going to move it much because, like, inertia is still a thing, but it'll at least get it moving in the right direction, which is all we really need at the moment.
That's right. Alright, now, get the grapple out. Stuff like this computer terminal, anything that's mounted on the walls that's not using a cuttable attachment point, like the circuitry and some of the welds and stuff, basically you just hit it with the grapple until it pops off, and if you did it right, then all you got to do is just kind of carry it over. And in the case of the processor, we're going to just use a grapple to send that over there. Now it's not attached to anything. You do want to be careful because the processor basically molecularly deconstructs anything you throw in it, and that can include you. That's another one where you don't really want to talk about it afterwards, but people definitely talk to you about it, if you get my meaning.
Yeah, and you don't get money for that one. That one costs you money because you got to pay for that clone.
Yep, and the suit, and your tools, and yeah. Now, one nice thing is you do get to see all kinds of interesting stuff. Like this ship's called the King of Lewiski. I've seen some other ones that have like the Pride of New Jersey and things like that. You get to see a lot of interesting little details that just flesh everything out. And sometimes, if you're lucky, there will be like audio logs in spare helmets or from data modules attached to the parts of the ship you can pull out or you find under somebody's bed. And I like that. You know, you get the sense this is just a regular world. Did find one where somebody accidentally left their dog at the Mars transfer station, and I sincerely hope that whoever got that dog liked their new dog because they were not able to come back. But, you know, stuff happens.
My goodness, this is so sad.
It's not so bad. Dog gets taken care of. And, you know, could be worse. Could have been their kid.
Oh my goodness. BZ, have you heard of a little game called Power Wash Simulator? It sounds like you might like that a bit as well.
So, actually, I am very familiar with it. It is because my partner, she basically found it when it first came out, and she has a Steam Deck, and it is her happy place. Like, when she's had a long day at work, or she's just kind of wanted to unwind, she will grab that and she will just happily power wash away. So a lot of the time I don't play it, but I get a book or I get, you know, something to look over on my phone, and I just sit there and chill out, and I listen to her play it and her reactions, and it's real good. Like, that is really sweet and fun time for me.
That sounds so nice.
It's very
if anybody,
chill. By the way, she may be watching, so hi, Catherine. I love you.
Absolutely adorable. If anybody in chat wants to share how they relax with video games or just any of your favorite cozy moments in a video game, please go ahead and donate. If you type !donate in chat and you donate over $10, you will be entered in a random draw to win a care package by Care. Winners will be contacted shortly after the event, so go ahead and donate. We'd love to read your donations on stream.
So we had a little incident there. I didn't realize the power junction boxes were going to trigger the reactor safety, and need to get rid of that. That took a little bit of urgency, but we're okay now. once you get the reactor into the salvage barge's capture field thingy, basically it kills the power, and it has something that'll stop the reaction mass from super crit. So fortunately, that's all taken care of, and we did not accidentally blow ourselves up.
Yeah, like letting a reactor go off is an experience that you only do once in this game, because if there's anything left of the ship that you can actually salvage, you're going to have a bad time sorting through it after a reactor goes super critical on you. Not a fun experience, aside from, watching your computer go to half a frame a second while it tries to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I don't recommend it.
Yeah, it's generally not a good idea to blow up the reactors. But, I mean, sometimes they just want to melt down anyway. Sometimes you look at them funny and they decide that today's the day we go boom, which is not particularly relaxing, but again, like BZ said, for whatever miraculous science/magic reasons, the barge does immediately rein that reaction in. Not sure how that works. Sci-fi magic, it's fictional.
Alright, here we go. Now I am being kind of careful here to try to get as much out of this as I can. I believe Okapi, we were discussing it as using the whole buffalo.
Yeah.
It is kind of one of those areas where you look at this light, it's what, 3,500 something credits. This ain't that much, not compared to what you're dealing with. But you consider the fact this ship has like 70 of them, and that adds up. That adds up real nice. And it only takes a couple more seconds, as opposed to just chucking them in the furnace and going, yeah, whatever. So it's kind of personal preferences, but I try to save those when I can. Alright, let's see here. Let me get some of these cables out of the way. Let's see. One nice thing is you can tether salvage to itself. That comes in real handy sometimes, especially when you need to get a bunch of little stuff.
Yeah, actually, I mentioned that I started playing it again yesterday just to see what had changed, and that's one of the things that's the most painful about starting off a fresh save, is not having the tether, because you don't unlock it until rank 3 and you start at rank 2. So not having the tether makes the first ship you do a real pain.
Why is that? Okay, hang on a second. I didn't think that should have been... Oh, I see. I got some of those tied to the... Okay. Alright, well, one sec here. I did not mean to tie those into that plate, but the good news is I can do this and get the hole out of there now. It'll just kind of take itself over there. And then for those circuits, what I can do here is... shoot. Well, first I can do that the right way this time. Anyway, there we go. So this is your scanner. Helps you find things here. And can help you find objects. So you see, basically, I kind of dumped those.
Well,
and the nice thing is they're right by the furnace, and that's where they live.
Material accepted.
Yeah, I think there was one more cable in that hole, but you're not getting it out now.
Nah, it's pretty much at the point of no return.
Yeah,
so
it's caught.
we're just gonna let her go.
Processing valuable deposit.
Yeah, that's 3,000 credits.
4,000 credits
that we're missing
versus,
in.
yeah, like, what, better part of a 250,000? Yeah, we're good, we're good.
Yeah, now, like, again, like, this is the future. Like, hyperinflation has taken hold. That's, like, the equivalent of $2, so it's not the end of the world. But in this case, like, we are trying to save as much as we can from the ship, so that it can be either repurposed or recycled. So not great that we accidentally destroyed the cable from that perspective. But if you were playing campaign mode with the 15-minute timer, more often than not, unless you're trying to unlock a specific sticker or something, it's not worth like dealing with that cheap stuff. It's easier just to throw it away because there's more than enough leeway to get your rank 5s without having to save too much.
There we go. Yeah, depending on how much time you give yourself and how much time the difficulty you're playing at is, you really just kind of prioritize.
Material accepted.
And sometimes those priorities include just shoving everything out the airlock and then taking the ship and dumping it out the furnace. You know, in manageable chunks, but still.
I've definitely done at least one where I just needed like 5 or 6 XP to level up. And so I just like picked a small mackerel and just shoved the whole thing in the processor just to get some quick points.
Those should go in.
Yeah, it'll make its way down there.
Salvage deposit
I
ready.
just try to be careful when they're spinning a bit because that Delta V gets interesting sometimes.
Yeah, like objects do have inertia and they can hurt and kill you if you're playing in a mode where you take damage. We are not, but it's still not ideal.
We took some, but it involved blowing ourselves up, so that's also not too hard to avoid once you realize you just done it. Alright, let's see.
Yeah, it is very interesting to me, like, because I know you mentioned Ender's Game earlier, the whole enemies gate is down thing.
Mhm.
Like, I am just now realizing that I subconsciously just thought of the barge as being down specifically because of, like, that whole thing in Ender's Game.
Yep.
Like picking a point of reference to be, like, your direction is just something I've always instinctively done in 6th Degree of Freedom games since reading that book. And that's kind of interesting that I'm just now putting that together. I was today years old.
Yeah. You know, it's also something where sometimes you bump or the ship gets bumped and you need to kind of figure out how do I reorient, and sometimes you just kind of got to pick a direction. And especially like sometimes the floor becomes the ceiling just because it needs to. Or, you know, sometimes you're just looking at it and you're like, yeah, I guess this is now at a kind of a funky angle, but I can see the furnace, so that's where I kind of gonna aim for and navigate from. And
Yeah, I've
hail
lost
the furnace
count.
god, basically.
Yeah, I've lost count of the number of times that I've been between the outer hull and the pressure hull and gotten turned around and died because I couldn't find my way out or cut my way out fast enough to go buy oxygen. So, like, it's very easy to get turned around in tight spaces in this game simply because, you know, there is no gravity. You don't have a static point of reference like you do in most games. So, like, until you get used to that, and even once you get used to it, like, it can be a little finicky at times to figure out where you're going.
Yeah, this is fun. So,
Yeah, where are the
See-
cut points on these sails? Are they inside the outer hull?
this is them right there. So
Okay, perfect.
basically, these nacelles, sails, whatever you want to call them, there's a few different variations, but usually most times you're going to need to actually go into the pressure hull and find access into the inner part of the ship, and then you got to cut them away from the inside before you can pull them off the outside. There we go. Since they go to the barge and this power cell needs to go to the barge, I'm just gonna kind of glue it together. And there you go. Yeah, you can just make your way on down there, thanks. I think I need to, yep, there it goes. I thought I got both those cut points. So, yeah.
Salvage deposit.
Yeah, one of the things that I like to do with the grapples, and I was telling BZ about this last night, getting like a big ship, like a heavy cargo or an Atlas, and just linking all of the outer hull together and sending them all at once, it's like peeling shrimp. Like, just the entire side of the ship comes off in one go. It's really satisfying.
Also, especially if you're working in a ship with multiple pressurized or unpressurized sections, the airlock consoles and door consoles go into the barge, and sometimes it's good to just get the pressure the way you want it in that section, and just take that door console off and the airlock console off, just so you don't accidentally, send yourself into space or send space into you, depending on which orientation we're talking about. Oh, and also there's this neat little thing you can do with the cutter. So you see we've been doing these precision cuts. Well, sometimes what you want to do is basically just cut a nice straight line. And this tool will help you do that just real nice. They call it the rip saw. And it pretty much does what it says on the tin.
Yeah, it's definitely not something you want to use in tight spaces, especially if there's anything flammable around. But like right here, like we're just trying to get this roll cage off the front of the ship. Like the rip saw is not going to damage this outer hull. It might damage the glass if we are not too careful when we get a little higher. But right now, like there's no damage that we could do that's going to be worth worrying about.
Besides, we're going to need to take that glass out anyway.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things I never figured out in this game is how to like effectively remove glass.
Oh, well heck, let me show you.
Because I mean, the way that I usually do it is
are.
like rip saw and get as close to the paneling as I can on the edge. But it seems like there's probably a better way to do it.
Just depends. Like, you're going to want to kind of maneuver yourself. Roll a little bit here. Pitch. There you go. So first things first. Let's get these out of the way. So what I usually like to do is I'm going to line up, and one nice thing is you can generally line it because you can't cut through the nanocarbon hull with the rip saw. And so I just line it right up on that edge. This is also sometimes you get a ship that all the airlock consoles on the outside are gone, and there isn't any easy access point except maybe going by the ceiling or the floor. And sometimes you want to just maybe do a little safer controlled depressurization. And the way we manage that is basically I usually cut the cockpit window, and from there I can just basically fly in after I've got it out, and sometimes even get the stuff gone from the inside. There we go. Why isn't that? There you go.
Okay, so you're kind of doing with the glass what I was already doing, so I guess that is the best way to do it then. Cool. I figured something out on my own. I'm so smart.
Yay! You can also cut the glass into smaller segments. I really try to line up on the natural seams that they give you, because basically having to track down like a little fragment of triangle-shaped glass in the middle of an empty space dock, it ain't great. It really ain't.
Just like cleaning up glass in real life.
Lord, if I told you how many times I stepped on something, I don't even wanna.
I bought a case of Topo Chico bottles, and they fell off of my car, and I had to clean them up from my driveway, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I hope nobody comes out here.
You're gonna want a good broom for that, I think.
Yep.
There we go. Got a little cut down there.
What is the space equivalent of a broom?
Gravity grapple kind of works for that because you can switch it from. Oh, the heck! Well, Okay, fine. On the upside, that glass came out real nice.
Yeah, it's a nice piece.
So, whew, there we go.
Raw material deposited.
And basically I guess we caught the edge of that computer terminal. That's, I don't think we were that close to it, but it ain't up to me.
Yeah, some of the stuff gets damaged surprisingly easily, and as soon as you damage it, it's no longer bargeable. Or it's reduced value on the barge.
Actually,
It looks like it's okay, though.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe we cut into a light.
Salvage registered.
That would be my guess,
Don't see anything
the way you were...
here in the hull joint.
Yeah, no, everything looks fine. So, yeah, you might have hit a light or something. Check that light on the floor, maybe?
That one says it's okay. Whoops.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, so that happened. Remember what I mentioned about the Delta V? Fortunately, this is not the end of the world. We got that nice little retractor. And it's a small enough piece so it's easy enough to just, bring it around and... Oh, come on, you. Really? Why are you even... No, you go in there.
See,
Thank
the problem
you.
is you tried to shoot it without yelling Kobe.
Suppose so. Alright. Well, with that said and done. Nice and straightforward, that one. Oh, there's a little chunk of glass on it. Oh, well.
Yeah, again, that's like $5 in this time, so not really a big deal.
Oh, hey, coolant. We should talk about that. So these coolant tanks are something you want to recycle, but they also have some other uses. If you happen to be in a situation where you need to keep, say, a normally very unstable thruster housing cold while you were cutting around it to get it out the ship, or you have a little incident with one of those reactors, and you know that you can basically freeze it with some coolant to give yourself a little time, there's these big jugs and there are some little cups, basically. And they work good. They work real good. You'll also see them on some of the regulators that the heavier grade reactors use. Same idea. You just pull them off, you basically get them in place, and then you either zap it gently with your laser to just hold it, or you take your fist and you just sort of smack it, or you put it on the grapple here and you smack it around a couple times. There we go. And it will start basically leaking coolant that you can then put to good use.
Can you use that to put out fire if you catch yourself on fire?
Oh yeah, you can definitely do that. Yeah, your suit's kind of a high oxygen environment and fire does not go well there. So, very important safety tip.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, the fuel in this game has the oxidizer mixed with the propellant for whatever dumb reason, so you can actually have fires burning in space, which is wild, but it's science fiction future. What can you do?
Also, we mix the oxidizer in ahead of time because that way when you dump a little of the whiskey in, you get some real good speed out of that when you're doing a race.
I don't know, just it seems like a bad idea to... unless you're doing solid fuel, it seems like a bad idea to mix your go juice with your oxygen, but what do I know?
Calling fuel go juice is interesting.
Oh yeah, that's what its job. Let's see.
Yeah, it's a southern thing.
Oh, there it is. Okay. You say so, and I say I'm from Appalachia, but whatever makes you happy.
Well, I'm from Florida, which is basically the Appalachia of the flat South, so.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are like on the same wavelength, the crazy, as what y'all get up to in them hollers.
Fair enough.
Material accepted. Credits assigned.
Let's see here. What's some other fun stuff we can do? Oh, here. Pull a couple of these hydroponics cabinets off.
Okay, those are new. I don't remember ever seeing those.
Oh, yeah.
In the game, so that's. I mean, obviously, it's just another thing that goes on the barge, but like just seeing like all these new little assets, it's those little details that make the world like really pop alive. And like if you play through the campaign of this game, it's very big on the Dark Souls style of storytelling, where it's very show don't tell. Like you get like a pretty good idea of what's going on around you from interacting with Weaver and with the other NPCs that are part of your crew. But like we were talking about all the data logs and the audio files and stuff, there's like a little like kind of horror-ish like B plot going on with like a cult or something that everyone's getting involved in. There's like a lot of stuff in this world. Like they're very clearly building up for this to be like an entire setting and not just a one-off game.
Yeah, there's the Cult of the Furnace, the Burning God. Those folks get interesting.
I like the
also
sentient robots.
Yeah, there's these things that like to call ghost ships, and there's no people on them, but that ain't why they call them that. We mentioned Weaver. Weaver's basically your kind of crew boss kind of guy. He gives you a hand, shows you around, offers you a couple things to make life a little easier.
Yeah, he's the colonel to your solid snake.
Fair, yeah. This is a nice one. This whole panel here you see is aluminum, and it goes in the furnace just like these cables. So when I need to cut this out, I'm going to just leave the cables as is. And I'm actually going to take the top part of the hull plate off here. And there we go. That'll make it easier to cut those free in a minute. But, ghost ships are, they're interesting. Basically, there's sometimes these ships they find that just have a bunch of AI nodes on them. And the AI nodes don't really work as far as salvage or recycling. But they put off a whole lot of electromagnetic junk that you may need to eliminate before you can try doing anything, or even have like your radio or some of your suit thrusters work right, and your scanners. And I don't necessarily want to get in a big debate about ethics and sentience and synthetic life forms and stuff. I just know if something screams when you kill it, you really don't want to mess around with it.
You're kind of making it sound like you get to take apart one of these ghost ships.
Oh, you get several opportunities, but you just might feel a little jumpy until you get the little nodes cleared out. And then sometimes you can look at those message logs, and there's some stuff. And I don't know. Sometimes you kind of wonder what's really going on there. I think we got all the stuff out of this. Yep. There you go.
Valuable object processed.
Oh,
Yeah, like in the grand scheme of like science fiction tropes, like the universe that this game is building is somewhere in between cyberpunk as a setting and Warhammer 40,000. Like there is a lot. There's a lot of stuff like that's really messy, and it's not grimdark, but it's like really rough in this setting.
I need you to know that you said Warhammer 40,000, and I had to think. I'm used to hearing it said as Warhammer 40K.
Well, yeah. Now, civilized people play BattleTech, but besides that, I think it's a lot closer to Traveler, because you basically have, a lot of different people trying to make their way in the galaxy here, and there's some things that are great, and there's some things that are really not great, But you
You know,
can
now
get-
that you've
get
reminded me that
around.
other franchises exist, I think actually the perfect like parallel would be The Expanse. Like before they start
Yeah.
jumping through all the wormhole gates.
Credits to
Somebody mentioned it reminds them of Firefly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's some of that
the
too.
music is very
That's
Firefly.
partially because the
Definitely.
accent.
deposit not accepted.
Oops, whoops. I put that in the wrong spot, but that's okay.
Yeah, this definitely has some. The Americana is very reminiscent of Firefly. But yeah, it's a very blue collar working class setting as far as everyone that you get to interact with. But the way that this corporation is set up is extremely cyberpunk. Like Lynx Corporation is effectively the government of the Earth at this point. It's kind of messed up, but I digress. I don't want to spoil
It's
it
a
too
lot
much.
messed up.
It's a good game. I think it's less than $30 on Steam. It's worth picking up and checking out if it looks at all interesting.
Deposit confirmed.
I mean, honestly, you work for Amazon or one of those companies. I don't think you're getting much different even now, but they just dress it up a little different. By the way, if we keep this up, I will start singing Joe Hill, so maybe we should not do that, at least until I can warm my voice up more.
Okay. Well, we'll really take a second to redirect. If you are interested in following Lady Arcaders, our social media team is keeping everyone informed about all the showcases going on today and happening during this event. So please feel free to follow us and share our account at Lady Arcaders on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram to help spread the word. We really appreciate any support you can give. And if you are interested in donating, you can type !donate in chat. And remember, it's all benefiting CARE, a great
As well, if you
organization.
could talk a little bit too.
So donate.
Right, I think donating's interesting too, because you do help a lot of people. That's good. But
Yeah.
that guess depends how you look at it.
Raw material accepted.
So I'm getting a few things out of here because I'm going to get to that airlock. We're going to basically put the airlock in the barge, and we sort of peel the rest of the ship away around it. No,
Yeah, and those airlocks
okay.
are
Yeah, that's one of those parts
a
we
pretty
can't collect
pennies,
in this
too.
one. It's true. And you'll notice
Oh.
the more we've been pulling this apart, the more that we're just able to just kind of take it and, well, boom.
Processor deposit accepted.
Real quick, in case you did a time check, BZ,
Mm-hmm.
you are at 43 minutes.
Well, that works. Seems to me
Yeah.
I've got that nice little thing that says 43 minutes up at the top, too. But, we're basically just taking a shift here, and
Deposit.
we'll wrap it up in about 10 minutes. We'll go and drop ourselves into the work bay and check in our tools. But let me just get a couple other decent-sized things off of this, and then we'll just start dumping it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, at the rate we're going, like, we're looking like we're gonna get this thing knocked out right before the 1 hour mark, which is
I'm
like,
trying.
really, really good considering this is basically a hands-on training session that we're doing today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, normally OJT takes a little longer, but, we got a good class.
Yep. Oh, you want to be careful around those power junction boxes. Not only are they technically barge instead of barge instead of disposal, but they get cranky if you hit them with a laser cutter, especially if they got a charge. So, just being mindful. Alright, now, since I've got this cut free, what I'm going to do is just give it a little tap. There we go. And I'm going to start by just sending... I know there's a little bit of cable on here, but I'm not that interested in saving it. I will pull the power cell. Whoop! Yep. Well, time to clean up after myself.
Account credit applied.
Oh, where'd that go?
Yeah, where's that airlock?
Yeah, we're gonna just... There it is. There you are. Yeah, I've got a very high-powered grapple at this point, and I
Transfer
haven't
string
played
credits.
that much before I went to get the dust off a little while back. Um, Sometimes I forget how powerful that grapple is. But the nice thing is, high-powered grapple also means high-powered tethers, and sometimes we just sort of pull things back. And there you go. Yeah, this is one of those examples of you can very quickly reorient, and then you're going to need to figure out what's what. Fortunately,
Material accepted.
not too bad. This is cleanup.
Yeah, almost torched that light, but caught yourself just in time.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the things that I always found interesting about this game, like talking a lot about like the inertia and everything, is the fact that the ship actually does quite a bit of wandering as you cut it
Mhm.
apart, just from like, like Einstein's laws say, for every action there has to be an equal and opposite reaction. So, like, when you shove the wall to the right, it's going to move the rest of the ship a little bit to the left. And it's actually pretty surprising how far off axis the ship will eventually become, because it starts off pretty centered, and now as you can see, it's kind of like off to the right side and getting a little closer to the furnace than I would like.
Yeah.
Because there is a point of
pull
note,
that
there
back
is an
to the
event
jack
horizon
here.
for those. Yeah, I would pull that to one of the jacks. Just
There you go.
away from the event horizon on our processor.
Yep. There we go. Ship go up. Panel go over.
Yeah, because if the event horizon of the processor or the furnace grabs the ship, it will pull it in. It will break the ship apart and pull it in slowly, and there's no getting it back. And
That's
you're
what
going
you
to lose a
call
lot
a
of money.
quick finish, but it ain't necessarily good. But on the other hand, like you said, if you're one of those days where you just need a little bit of parts taken care of, well, sometimes you just do what you need to do.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
I've got a quick question for you, BZ. How do you normally play this game? In like the sandbox mode or in campaign?
I played the whole campaign, and I really liked it. It was a good story, and I enjoyed the experience. And then I come in just now and again, and I play the. I will play the free play here if I just kind of want to mess around. And I do plan to go back. I did the campaign on the lower difficulty setting, and I do plan to go back in and do it on harder difficulties just to see how it changes.
Material accepted. Credits transferred.
I wouldn't say it felt too easy, but I definitely could feel that it could be harder. So I wanted to maybe see how that went.
Do you know if the
Jeez. What do we got to do to get through this? Okay. It's like a maze. There we go. But go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, it's all right. I was just gonna ask if you know if the harder difficulty settings like decrease your oxygen or make things more expensive or things like that.
Little of both.
Yeah, the one thing I know for
Oxygen-
sure they do is they limit on hard you only get 30 clones total, and on I forget what they call the hardest difficulty, but you don't get a clone, like it's permadeath.
Yeah. I think they softened that up a little bit. It's only like 5. And yeah, for hard and for the higher difficulty, you basically have to work very quickly. You have to work very precisely, or except you're going to lose a lot of money and get your debt shot up real quick. And sometimes you end up finding out that you basically spent half an hour cutting up a ship and saving components, and you cost yourself way more money than you actually made, especially if you lost anything.
Interesting.
The other thing, oxygen runs out faster. You carry less even with an upgraded capacity,
Salvage
and
secured.
you can sometimes find oxygen cylinders and repair kits and thruster fuel on the ships, but the spawn rates for that get a lot lower. So you are forced to go to the company store a bit more often. And that's also not great.
Interesting. I like seeing the way different games increase difficulty in different ways, because this is a very different style of game. And so you have to rebalance it in a very different way.
Oh yeah. Like, there's no enemy, really. The AIs are creepy, but they're still just little boxes. They can't just, like, reach out and hurt you. But they sure as heck can find ways to make the environment more difficult.
Yeah, speaking of more difficult, I just got a text from the foreman. We got about 10 minutes to wrap this buffalo up, so
Yeah.
I think we're on pace to hit it, but like just reminding you that the clock is ticking, Cutter.
Yep. Alright, well, let's see here. First things first, let's just make this thing a convertible. Put the T-tops on, and we'll just pull the rest of the really good stuff out, and we'll basically shove the rest, or just go into the work barge and end our day. So, let's see. There he is. Alright, now,
Salvage deposit registered.
there you are. Alright.
Oh, I didn't even see that panel there. I thought you were trying to throw the jack in the processor for a moment.
I mean, if you can, I'd be impressed. That's
those things weigh like several, like dozens of thousands of tons. Like, I don't think they're going anywhere.
Yeah, they're basically for a few reasons. One is to anchor the ships to them if you need, or anchor sections if you got, like, say, something flying off when you don't want it to. They can also be useful for pulling yourself along if you get yourself a little bit mixed up or drifting, and let's say you ran out thruster fuel, but you got plenty of gravity and plenty of tethers. You can just grapple yourself over on these and then slingshot yourself towards the work bay there and back into the house.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
It's a nice way to go. Sometimes it's pretty fun too. Just then,
Yeah, but
you can catch
again,
yourself.
Yeah, but like on the flip side of that, again, like we've talked about multiple times, like objects do have inertia, and inertia does hurt. It is very possible to accidentally end up being the backside of a bola and throwing yourself into a wall and cracking your helmet, and then you just die, which is not pleasant and requires a clone. And unfortunately, there is a 0.2% chance that your clone may not be perfect, and like, I mean, that's not a huge chance, but it's enough of a chance that you don't want to throw yourself at death's door too often, because something will eventually go wrong.
11 Tomac is perfectly fine. 11 Tomac's a nice guy. 11 Tomac's just, it happens, you know? He's got 11 toes.
It's not the 11th toe that I'm worried about, it's the fact that he cheats at poker.
Well, shit, he did that before he even got cloned once.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So we're just gonna kind of wrap up some of the fancy stuff here. Like I said, we can just kind of tie things together in a nice little bundle. And there we go.
Yeah, I think we might be able to get down to the canteen in time before they run out of the plastic-free food, which is my favorite.
Yeah, plastic-free's a lot better than, well, plastic in. So, and yeah, that's a dietary restriction you may have to discuss when you are setting up your contract. I heard somebody actually got like 14 grams of real chicken one night. I still love that idea. I don't think anybody's ever had real chicken around here. But, you know, soy bird's alright. But we pretty much got this thing just about done to the last of the useful stuff, and we are running around a little bit of timer here, so just gonna bring ourselves over.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes left, so we should be able to get this one wrapped up nice.
Yep. Now, if we were doing this in the campaign or doing this for a different kind of level, what we would do here now is probably pick up a few tool repair kits, maybe check our med kit, check our thruster fuel. Yeah. And then basically just turn ourselves around and go back into the barn. So, what happens now is basically they just run you up against what's left of the ship and how much you made here. So you can see we did pretty good on this. There's about 3 million left on that hull if we really wanted to take everything, strip down, rip it apart, and, you know, basically chop it up and feed it into everything. But I feel like right now, what's 4 million between friends, right? So we're just going to end our shift here. Normally you would earn basically these MP are like your skill points. The LTs there are basically links tokens. This is what you use to buy upgrades to various things. And there you are. Also in the campaign you can actually get to run around your little hab apartment, and you can pull like posters and stuff out of the ships you're breaking up, put them up on your walls. There's a few pretty good ones. Hang on, I want to actually show you. Just one sec here. Mm-hmm. We got a minute, and this is a way to kind of wrap it up nice, I think.
Yeah, I got that hang in there cat on my wall.
No wall is complete without a hang in there cat poster.
It's so true. Like, you gotta have all that, like, corporate synergistic nonsense, like, in your place of living, just for ironic purposes, if anything.
True.
So yeah, like I said, this game isn't terribly expensive. I believe it goes on sale pretty frequently as well.
Yeah,
I don't keep an eye on it because I've owned it since it went into early access. I think I bought it like a week after it came out because I heard about it from one of my friends. But like, it's a really good game. Like,
yep.
It's definitely one that you should give a shot to if you're at all interested in like these sorts of games that are secretly a puzzle game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very relaxing, very fun. Not sure why it's taken so long to load up my save here, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, I guess, like, while we're waiting on this to load up, that's as good a time as any to plug ourselves, so...
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So you can find me around pretty much as BZArcher on Twitch. I actually haven't streamed this that much. I should. I stream a fair bit of Hades and Cult of the Lamb. Stream Battletech 2018, and I'll probably be... I might try streaming some MechWarrior 5 with the new game coming out with the clan invasion. And also on Twitter and places like that. You just do BZArcher. You'll probably find me. I write some fanfic. Please don't kink shame. But, you know, basically, I got stuff around.
Yep, and y'all already probably heard about me earlier. But yeah, I'm Okapi, mostly rhythm games, a lot of other arcade games. Neo Turf Masters obviously got played today with NBZ, but also a lot of Danmaku style shmups, Tetris the Grandmaster, and anything that requires a lot of quarters to get good at is what I am all about. And I will be back one more time this evening. I'm actually taking over hosting during The Sims in about an hour and a half due to some unforeseen circumstances. So I will see all y'all a little later on in the evening for one last round. And it does not look like this is going to load, so unfortunately, I think
Yeah, I
we may
think we're.
have to scratch the tour of the habit. I mean, if you've seen one studio apartment, you've seen them all. It's just this one's in space and has tools,
Yeah.
so it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Like
Oh,
we
there it
are
finally
on company
goes.
time.
Whoop, here we go.
Oh,
There we go.
okay, all right, yeah, all right, real quick,
Good
just
morning, Cutter
yeah, the
9346
quick run through. So
52.
we're waking up in our bunk. You know, you got your tablet right on top as God intended.
Productive day.
It's
Yep.
honestly the best way to deal with your tablet if you're sleeping in a bunk. Just put it up
Yeah.
top with some hook loops or something.
Yep.
You've got
There's
this
your
little corner
suit.
here with all our posters. You got schematics. You got all of our tools here. That's the computer where you can buy your tool upgrades.
Nice
Over
little
here, you've got
kitchen.
your terminal for your personal emails, your little kitchenette with your own vending machine,
Yep.
which is kind of wild. And yeah, it's a cute little like as far as like work provided accommodations go, this
Ain't
is
bad.
probably yeah, the one time I had to work overnight at Disney doing hurricane ride out, we just had air mattresses in the break room, and so this is a little better than that
Yep.
because at least this is intended to be lived in, but
Mm.
like this is also a permanent installation, and my thing was like a one-off thing for a storm, so but yeah, this game's good. And like I said, it looks like they're trying to build Hardspace into like its own setting, and they're maybe doing other stuff in this universe. So definitely keep an eye on it because it's a like if you like that more grounded, like BZ said, like Traveler, or like I said, The Expanse, you know, sci-fi that's a little more realistic and grounded. This is a really cool setting.
Yep. So
But
thank
yeah,
y'all so much. This has been a lot of fun. I don't usually get to bring this much of my upbringing out, if you will. But yeah, this has been really fun. I enjoyed it, and I really love this game. Like, it's when I said I hadn't been playing this for a while, it isn't because I don't like it. It's because like I have 8 different games that I need to play on a regular basis for things, and I cycle through. But it's a really nice. Just it can be as relaxing or as tense as you want. So, hope y'all enjoyed it, and thank you so much.
Yes, thank you both. Thank you, VZ, for your amazing gameplay and explanations, and thank you, Okapi, for commentating. We're going to head to break, but we'll be right back with Dijon Ketchup in a shiny hunting showcase, so stick around.